You know, I think it's interesting is memory is what gives us the illusion of time and of doing things again. And it would be awful to have to wake up every morning and remember who you are, where you are, remember how to think again and to use words and who the people are around you. I mean, every day you'd have to remember in a way, or re-experience, let's say, forget the memory part, I said that wrong. But you'd have to start fresh and new every day with no memory at all. And if we were to live that way in this play, it wouldn't be much of a play, in my opinion. So memory is vital to keep the illusion of time and past and future. But with this pointing and this teaching, we're taught that we're the infinite with no past and future. We just are, and everything just is. So this is an appearance. This is an illusion of time, an illusion of being a body and a mind and having relationships and doing. And what a great way to experience yourself as something else instead of just the beingness. Not that this isn't the beingness, but this is the beingness expressing in infinite potentials and possibilities. And one of them is being a human being instead of a rock or a planet that has practically no life on it. We get to be human beings experiencing machines, experiencing relationships, and this idea of being a child and becoming an adult, and so many wonderful opportunities to just experience with all our senses. But past and future are part of memory, and you can't actually find memory. You know, you can't find a thought, you can't find memory. It's just, it's beingness playing that part too. It's beingness thinking, it's beingness remembering. But the true pointing, as everyone said here, is that you're that which doesn't come and go. So ultimately, you're the unchanging with the space for the changeful, or expressing really as the changeful. So not a mistake, none of it's wrong. It's just part of the play, and it's really fun. Because every day you see the sun come up, you know, and maybe some clouds will be in front of it, or a different season. But there's a lot of things that appear to be repetitious, but they're never exactly the same twice. Just like no two snowflakes are exactly alike. But they're still snowing. They're still thinking. They're still feeling and seeing and hearing. But it's constantly changing. What appears is constantly changing as you're experiencing. So, doesn't have to be real serious or anything, but just it's a fun way of being, fun way of expressing.
You know, evolution is an indisputable fact, and you know, but it's not only in the world of biology and you know, all the non-animate areas, or you know, the animal life, but in human growth, and that, you know, we're constantly improving. That's where I'm coming from.
After the age of 25, I believe our bodies start to deteriorate. And I don't know anybody as they've gotten older that actually improves. So we're actually unimproving, if you want to call it that. The body's kind of falling apart. And as far as, you know, transcendence, there's no guarantees that just because you're more worldly or in the world that you're going to have more of an awakening or more of an understanding. There's no real link to that, because at any age it seems that this understanding that you've always been what you're looking for may arise, but there's no rules to it. So I don't see that there's an evolutionary process to any of this, even the awakening, because what you are is being unawakened also. So what you are is acting as if it's not awake. It's all of it. It's never not that. Even if it's this idea that you exist and you're on a journey and a path and you're trying to find enlightenment, that's it too. So you're never not that. So there's no transcending anything, because you're already that at all times. You can
Well,
never not be that, no matter
That was
what's
beautiful.
happening.
in the grander scheme of
Beautiful.
things, as you guys have often said, you know, we're not born and we don't die, you know, so there's a grand play happening here, both on what seemingly we might call an individual way, but also, you know, on a global perspective as well and beyond. And as I see it, there is a journey, and it may not be linear, you know, which you were saying, Kat. You know, it's in fact, I don't see it as linear. If anything, I see it as almost like a spiral, but spiraling either upwards or you know, I guess. So anyway, yeah, it's just my thought.
You know, after the age of 2, the I am a person is born, and it seems that on this imagined linear journey that we're taking, that I seems to lose its grip and our belief in it. Because one of the things that starts to happen as we age is we start losing our memory. We're not able to remember things and hold on to things. And in a sense, there's a natural progression to this loss of identification as a separate entity or person. And, you know, we look at dementia and some of these mental brain illnesses as something terrible, but it's actually the death of the belief in I am a person. And you're becoming a natural response as a body-mind mechanism. You're becoming more like the tree and the birds, and just being naturally responding with no filters or restrictions, no memory, no committee meetings going on up there about how you should or shouldn't be. So in a sense, that is the natural evolution or progression that a lot of people are experiencing in this, and it could be called a spiritual journey, but it's really the recognition, without a recognition, because there's nobody to recognize it, that you're already that. So this progression, even mentally and physically, which is the filter that the I am is expressing through the instrument of expression, is starting to express differently and be less identified as a person and more just a natural expression as a human being instrument.
I think we're talking about two different realms here, Donna.
But it's still awareness. It's still that intelligence energy expressing as everything. It's never not that.
Exactly.
So in the imagined dualistic physical world, you could say there's everything, there's cause and effect.
There is a story, though. There is a story. There is a play at hand, and it's a grand one. And you said it yourself. There are infinite possibilities.
Yes.
So
why not? So there's
exactly.
this imagined evolution.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Of a person. Exactly.
And when you're invested in it, it's real.
Yeah, and why not? I mean, and there's only the real expressing is this anyway. So it's real
true.
In the sense that it's from, the only thing that is real is the real. So it's the real expressing is this. So, why deny
exactly
that it's here? And, it's what's happening, but at the same time, nothing's happening because you're the unchanging, expressing as the changeable.
But I would like to throw in again the possibility of transcendence. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that.
That's a beautiful story. Call it whatever you want.
Be beyond the grasp of the mind, way beyond. Yeah.
That's because the mind is contained in it. The mind is the expression of it. It's like
just a little spark
in
the furnace.
Yeah, it's the analogy of the ocean and the waves, and you think you're a separate drop.
Yeah.
That have to reach the ocean. That's separate from the ocean. You have to get back to it, and that's not the analogy of looking at the emptiness of space, outer space, and all the planets. And in that empty space is the birth of a planet and the death of a planet, and an apparent evolution from the birth of a planet to the evolution of a planet to the destruction or implosion or explosion of a planet. It all happens in that empty space. So where exactly is the evolution? It's just a temporary happening in the non-happening. So it really didn't happen because you're that unchanging, infinite space. Whether the planet explodes or doesn't, it doesn't really affect you. But if that intelligence awareness is focusing on the birth of that planet and the evolution of the planet and the extinction or destruction of that planet, it seems like a story. It seems like something evolved and changed and happened and ended and transcended. But it all happened in that empty space of the universe, totally unaffected by all of it. So they're both right. There's no right or wrong here. It's all of it. Energy expressing as everything. When that energy stops taking the form of a body-mind that's evolving, what does it turn into? What does it become? It doesn't become anything. It was always just energy. So, in that sense, nothing ever really happened again. Just energy expressing as everything. And not just,
Can't stop it from expressing.
There's a big question in all of this, Bob, Donna, and others. Is where did that energy come from in the first place?
it wasn't created, and so there's no
Exactly.
no time. There's
Exactly.
no time, and the mind is time bound, so it can't conceive of this. It's beyond that. So
So really, what needs to be investigated is there a self-centered, experiences are happening, but are they happening to anybody? Are they happening to a me, or are they just happening?
Yeah, beautiful.
I have a quote that I really enjoy, and it said, when Jesus was dying on the cross, he was having a very bad day. And I have to agree that the expression isn't always enjoyable. There's a lot of people who are suffering this expression. They're not enjoying it. The true joy is the recognition that you're that space and that awareness of the changeful, whether it's bliss or very painful and torturous. There's a lot of people who are having very bad days, wrestling with so many things in their lives. So if you expect the expression to be joyful, probably not. It's a dualistic world, dualistic play. But when you know yourself to be the unchangeful, there's a sense that there's this peace with that. There's a very quiet joy and love of being there in that place of awareness. But not that it's a place, but it's the knowing that you're that's all there is. Definitely what's happening, and that could be pain arising, it could be sadness arising, it could be all kinds of things. So we don't want to deny the experiencing and the things that are arising, the sensations that are arising. But when you do try and locate the one that's experiencing those, most definitely that can't be found. But it doesn't eliminate the expressions that are happening now. And